Hey, how's it going, Rockstar? It's nice to see you. Welcome to my Rockstar lair. I just wanted to bring you along for a Rockstar session today. Well, it looks like you and I have a little bit of work to do. I don't know if anybody already told you, but we have to have a little talk. Oh, God, I'm so happy my assistant set up my Rockstar lair properly. Although, I think they have to change the heads on these, but whatever. Hey, dude, so basically, I got to talk to you about something, and that thing is that you've got a special mission, my friend. You've got about a year to turn into the rock star version of yourself. It looks like you've got to make some really cool videos of yourself to prove to people for until the end of the time that you could rock out a regular old rock song just as good as a regular rock star. And that's why we're here together. We're gonna work together to get you totally fit for the stage. It looks like you are gonna be in some Hollywood band's video, and then you're actually gonna be recording some of your own music videos and things like that. Like I was saying, some of your own music videos and things like that, and that's really awesome. So basically, I'm Sam. Hi, nice to meet you. And basically, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have been taking guys from zero to rock and roll hero here in Hollywood for more years than I will mention here, as a matter of fact. And what I'm going to do is turn you into the rock star version of yourself because you've got some videos to do, it turns out. So, welcome to my Rockstar lair, as I just said before. And what we're going to be doing here is Rockstar sessions. And Rockstar sessions are what are going to get you completely 100% in Rockstar shape for your Rockstar moment so that we can record it and have it until eternity. But you're going to use it for the rest of your life as well, just getting younger and cooler and faster and stronger every single day. Now, how are you going to get those things happening to you? We're going to use a little bit of MK Ultra to Rockstar Ultra you into your best version, my friend. And I'm using a new mic, so this is fun stuff. New mic, hey, hey, hey. All right, so now let me just check my. Now you have been chosen, and you've got a gig coming up, and for some reason you have to be the rock star version of yourself. I think it's because they're only going to let rock stars into the video, and you probably have to do a little bit of performing in the video. I don't know, but you've got your own videos coming up as well, so it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go over some of the fundamentals of what we'll be covering together, and then we're gonna be rocking. That's what we do, you know. So I did hear that you wanted to leave behind a kick-ass legacy. If that's right, and it's you wants to leave behind a kick-ass legacy, then that's great. But you know, it's not like a magic genie can just go clean kick-ass legacy. Let me see if they left me any messages. You know. So if you're gonna leave behind a kick-ass legacy, then that means you're gonna have really great gigs. On stage, you're gonna have to shine. You're gonna have to be able to play and sing at the same time. And you know, when we were kids, we used to set standards for rock stars. A rock star can play anything, the drop of a hat. A rock star can play multiple instruments. A rock star can sing and play at the same time and rile up the crowd. And we're gonna go over all of that stuff because regardless of what you think you wanna put on going on, you know, put on yourself going forward into your rock star version, the fact is people need to see you do a little bit of a juggling act, and that's singing, playing, and mock show at the same time. I don't know if you know about the Beatles mock show, and what that is all about is when they were at their first professional gig at the Kaiserkeller in Hamburg on the Reeperbahn. The owners used to say to them, "Mach show," which meant like make a show. And because the guys were so tired and so crazy and stuff like that, they actually did make a show, and they would, they were on pills as well, which I don't recommend. However, I highly recommend coffee, especially espresso coffee. I'm going to show you how to make your own without having to go to Starbucks to pay $5 a coffee. And let me tell you, this coffee will literally, I want you to taste test it with your favorite $5 coffee, and see if this espresso trick doesn't rock your world. You feel me? In any case, we're gonna have to get you into your best Rockstar shape so that you can leave kick-ass videos where you look like a real rock star who's able to move around, shake the crowd, incite a riot if need be. And we're also gonna get you ready for gigs. Being on stage is a whole different thing. You gotta just be able to really do it. And shoots as well. We're gonna have to work on your poses. We're gonna have to work on how well you come across in a shoot, because album covers, single covers, it depends on how far you want to take it after you star in that one video, and then you have your own performances, I think, to do in about a year, where they're gonna make video of them, and you'll have them forever. So that's really rad. So a little bit more about me. Basically, I have been making bands here in LA and mostly in Hollywood. And what I do is I'll take a guy from not owning an instrument and not actually thinking of himself as someone who can play. He'll say, I can't sing. And they'll go from there to their first performances in LA, to screaming crowds. And, a lot of them do not carry on with music afterwards. But while they're with me, they get their chops up to a certain point. And the drummer in one of my bands had the makings of a front man, and so I brought it out of him. And he went from I can't play and sing all the way to being really advanced in the end. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Scott as time goes on, and we build this fun little rock buddies friendship with but I'm going to tell you everything I know about rocking the stage. And what I have done is, one of the bands that I broke was at a little celebrity hideaway on Sunset and Vine. And I mean, the amount of celebrities who came through that place, it's like, Jeff Goldblum had a Monday night that he did there, and Molly Ringwald came and sang on the spinning piano with John Cryer playing like jazz songs for her. And Sabrina the Teenage Witch is a part owner of the place. And I saw everybody in that little block. I mean, Leo, Snoop spoke to me. Leo darted his eyes away from me so that there wasn't literally a like Leo riot. It's crazy stuff. But Eva Longoria, the cast of Lord of the Rings, and on and on and on. And I would break bands around LA, and Doc Hollywood, the vocal doctor for the studios, who goes in with all of the greats. And there's been like television interviews about Doc Hollywood. And one day I was at Cascade Studios, and I was just belting out a Paul McCartney the night before that intro, and I was just checking the acoustics of the room, and this guy comes around the door frame with his jaw on the floor, just like, comedically dramatic, like he'd seen a ghost or something. And he came into the doorway and he said, "Who sang that?" Like he was just completely floored by, me just warming up, kind of. And that was one of the most amazing moments I've ever had where someone has complimented my voice. But I've also had a moment where I'm in front of the Viper Room after getting off. It was my first show at the Viper Room, and it was just listed last year. And a lady passes in between me and Johnny Depp's cousin in front of the Viper Room, right outside the front door, and she says, "You have a really great voice." And for people who perform, we know that that kind of compliment does not come easy. And I went all the way from "I can't sing" to, no, sorry, other people saying "you can't sing." You can't sing. Well, that was nothing. And Barbara Ann was flat. You know what I mean? Like, proper, you're a beginner kid, all the way up to you have a really great voice. And I sang and performed for years before hearing "you have a really great voice." And other ones, you're a rock star. You can play anything. You dream that somebody will one day say that to you in a real setting, not one of your buddies or whatever, getting some kind of merit pat on the back, you're a rock star. But no, I'm talking about guys who've come into your studio about half a dozen times and everybody's jamming, and it's like, "Can you play this? Can you play this?" And it's like, "Oh, I think I can play." And he's like, "She can play anything. You're a rock star." Because we just jammed so many times, and I would get him to play as many songs as, the simplest songs. I'd be like, "Oh, you guys know this one, you guys know this one." But in any case, another thing that is sort of qualifies me to be in any way sharing anything that would be useful for you is that outside of the Hollywood bands where I've played, these crazy gigs with like things that are beyond ovation, things that are beyond amazing, like a dude in a place where you get up on stage and everybody looks at you like, "Record scratch?" Like Blazing Saddles moment, like, "You're gonna be singing what for who?" By the end of, an AC/DC tribute, you have dudes running down to the front of the stage, one guy bowing down like, "We're not worthy," over and over at the end of the track. I've had, playing Smells Like and have a whole college full of girls, Loyola Marymount girls. I forget which, not Loyola Marymount, it was Mount St. Mary's all girls college here in LA. They run down to the stage and start moshing in front of the stage, just like in a movie or in a dream gig. And later in the set, or before in the set, we were playing, like a 50s tune, like That Thing You Do. And they all run down to the stage, all these co-eds, and they're all doing the twist in front of the stage, that kind of great stuff. Or, for me, one time I was tributing Kurt, and even though it's, the Nirvana songs are cursed, uh, they are, even though it was cursed, this young lady who was a bikini dancer at this strip club that we were playing at kneels in front of me and starts to, how do you say, simulate fellatio, like Wendy and Prince. You hear me? You know what I mean? Like, what? I've never seen other people get this kind of stuff. And I guess the biggest thing that ever made me feel like I know what I'm talking about, or that I could qualify me to be able to share stuff with people and make them sound good, is that this one will be hard for you to believe, but I jumped on stage, no rehearsal, with the Jackson 5's band and played a couple of tracks with them as Michael. I was putting together a Michael show because this agent was talking to me and was like, "Yeah, Michael's 10 grand. So is Bruno Mars." And so I learned a few of their tracks, but Michael, I tried to do as many as I could, and I was getting some footage, and I called up this one band, and it ended up being, "Yeah, we play for the Jackson 5 on tour right now." I was like, whoa. So I jumped up and, man, we brought the house down. It was filled with all of these Hollywood heavyweights and like gospel singers and things like that. And so it had kind of a jazzy feel to it, but we did a couple MJ, and the place literally just lit up, and people were screaming at the stage and jumping and clapping, and they were just so riled up because it was MJ. And even though I hadn't practiced with the band, I had practiced on my own, and we were killing it with MJ in original keys. And so those are my claim to fame, and You know, I cut my teeth, as they say, or I got my chops as a lead singer in a band called Sons of Jimmy, where we would play for 3 hours and I was the only singer. Even though Chris, God rest his soul, could have definitely took vocals on, at least 5 tracks. But we're talking Cream, we're talking Bob Marley, of course Jimi Hendrix, but Jim Morrison as well, lots of Doors, and on and on. Zepp, you know, and Zepp is another one that makes people just go absolutely crazy. And I can show you how to do Zepp, even if you feel like you don't have the range. There's a method, but there we are. That's who I am, and that's who you are, and if you're gonna be a rock star on stage, you're gonna have to go on stage and do as good as a real life rock star. And I want to say that again. When you go on stage, you want to do as good rather as a real life rock star, because we've seen them. They could be better sometimes. Some of them could use a coaching session, something like that. And the fact is if we're gonna make you as good as a real life rock star, you're gonna have to get, number one, the voice is gonna have to be on point. Luxury rock vocals, we're gonna go over. We're gonna have to get the body on point, because that is one of the unwritten rules. As a matter of fact, they'll give you a real hard time if you don't have that rock star body, and that it's just slightly elevated. It's not some marble statue kind of a body or whatever. Not even a gym body, as I'm sure you can see, from the rock stars that you love. But we're gonna get you there without working out. We're gonna get you there without working out. We're gonna get you there by rocking out, okay? As well, there's the talent. And talent, you can do 10,000 hours, or you can get coaching from a 10,000 hour. And that's, what I'm good at is getting you compliments that are beyond what you've received before, and compliments that you never would have gotten before. And we do that by doing a variety of things. There's not like an easy button or you just do this. No, we do a lot of stuff. So for you to get compliments that are out of this world, it takes about a year to get that talent up to super duper rock star level. And I'm sorry to say that in the beginning, but maybe you could find it earlier. You never know. You could be super top quality before then and be able to play a set and sing it out and nail it and really get people to want more at the end. And that's what it's about, really. You gotta leave them wanting more, and you gotta leave them with video proof of how amazing you are, and watching people just like scream and hoot and holler and whistle and watch the ovations just get better and better the better and better you get. And I'm just gonna check the camera right quick. It looks like it's still going, so that's totally rad. Now I'm gonna do some little scales here while we talk about Rockstar sessions and rockouts, okay? To start off with, we're just gonna make sure that you're doing basically you're moving along real good with the music, okay? It's about finding that rhythm for the performance, and you're also gonna see it's about having that stamina to do more than you want to do in order to make you really at least do what you want to do when it comes time for stage. So we're going to work on that. We're going to do body work. We're going to figure out how to get you in shape without kicking your ass too hard. And we are going to play ninja. So that is going to be mind work, ISO, a little bit of Tai Chi, and also literally punches and kicking. But it's just extra stuff for body. And guitar work we're going to do, and it's great because we're going to have some teachers for guitar